Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach, and today I'm talking about if you want her to chase you, don't do this, okay? So if you want a woman to chase you, then it's best not to be cold to her or be mean to her in any way. So the best thing really in when you're dating someone is, and you're dating a woman specifically, right? And let's say she is someone who perhaps has lost a little bit of interest. Perhaps she is someone who you were dating for a while and then suddenly she's become just a little bit less interested, but she's still interested. She's just become a little bit less interested. Perhaps you're not seeing each other as much, but she's still responding to you. She's still talking to you. She's still agreeing to meet you on dates. Don't be cold to her or mean to her when she reaches out to you. If it's been like, if she didn't reply when you expected her to reply, or she didn't reach out to you when you expected her to reach out to you. You don't want to be cold, because when you're cold and you're mean and you act butthurt by the fact that she hasn't reached out to you, that makes her just want to push away even further. That would just push her away, right? It also, don't ignore it either. If you want her to message you, if you want her to reach out to you, if you want her to show interest in you, when she does those things, when she actually does those things, don't ignore her, otherwise she's just going to stop doing it. If you keep on ignoring a woman that you like, she's just going to leave. She's just going to see, she's just not going to want to participate, right? I've had, this is not just in romantic relationships, but I've had friendships like this as well, where they're kind of expecting you to do everything, and if you do reach out to them, they start acting all weird, or they start being a bit mean because they, I don't know, expected you to always be in contact with them or something like that. I've had friendships like that, especially when I was younger, and it just didn't sit right with me. It just felt weird. It's like they expected you to know exactly what was going on and to say the magic words, and you had no idea what the magic words were. And it just makes you not want to be around them. It just makes you not want to be friends with them anymore, right? And that's kind of what can happen if you start being cold or you ignore a woman that reaches out to you, that you wanted to reach out to you. So you got to think of it as like, positive reinforcement, right? When the person that you like, when this woman reaches out to you or does the thing that you want her to do, then you have to give her positive reinforcement. You got to say something like, "Oh, I'm really happy to hear from you. When you're free to hang out again, just be really receptive, be really warm." Now, if you are, for whatever reason, upset by the fact that a woman hasn't reached out to you in a while or hasn't initiated contact with you, if you're not happy with that, then you don't have to carry on dating her, okay? You can just, if you're not happy with that behavior and you'd rather have a woman that doesn't do that sort of thing, then don't continue dating that person. It's quite simple, right? If you don't mind it though, and perhaps maybe she just has a really busy life, because sometimes women, have, big careers, just like men, they have, sometimes they don't have enough time in the day, especially when, at the beginning, right? Because usually when someone starts falling more in love, then they're more on your mind. So therefore you want to contact them more, right? But when you've just started dating someone and you're only dating someone and you're not boyfriend and girlfriend yet, or you're not exclusive yet and you're only dating, right? It's kind of naive to think that they should already be texting you and talking to you like they're your girlfriend or your boyfriend, okay? Because you've only spent a limited amount of time with each other. And if you've only spent a limited amount of time with each other, let's say you've only been on 2 dates, and let's say the maximum time you spent with each other is about 6 hours. If that's the case, you've only spent about 6 hours with you, that's not enough time for them to fall in love with you and to be head over heels in love with you. Sometimes it can be, but usually it's not, right? So that means you're not always on their mind. They're not always going to remember to reply to you. They're not always going to remember to initiate a conversation with you, especially if they've got other busy commitments, like perhaps they have kids, or perhaps they have a big job that takes up a lot of hours, they work long hours, right? So when they do eventually reach out to you, because if they're interested in you and they're attracted to you, they will, eventually say something to you. They will reach out to you. They will reply, right? You've got to make it seem like it's okay for them to do that. And if you're ignoring them, if you're cold, if you're mean to them, then they're going to just not want to do that ever again. You've got to give them positive reinforcement, which is why it's important that you're happy to hear from them. And you say, oh, it's great to hear from you. When are you free to hang out again? And then you arrange a date with them, right? So you got to realize that when you go on a date with a woman, she might not immediately be in love with you. Right? She might not immediately have those strong feelings for you and want to message you all the time. Whereas you might instantly have your feelings engaged and you automatically want to start acting like you're in a relationship with them, which is something that I do. Right? When I first met my wife, I was head over heels basically straight away from the get-go. I was like, yep, she's great. I want to be in a relationship with her. She's amazing. And it took me a lot of strength to restrain myself and to not act and behave like that, especially through text messaging and things like that. And I'm glad that I didn't do that, because my wife had actually dated someone who was acting like that. She told me a story. She said to me, like, oh, when I was, when I was single, I was dating this girl, and basically after the first date, she sent me 2 bunches of flowers and just kept on messaging me saying, hey, how are you? What are you up to? Oh, sorry, has this been too much? Have I sent too many flowers? Was that the wrong thing to do? Getting really insecure about it, right? And that was just from one date, right? And I felt the urge to do those kinds of things after the first date with her, because I really, really liked her as well. But I knew better by then. I knew I needed to restrain myself and not act and behave like that, because it put her off. My wife didn't go out on another date with that woman, right? So I knew that if I acted and behaved that way, then I would lose her. I would alienate her. I would make her feel weird and uncomfortable, because I'm acting like I'm in love with her when she's not at that point yet, right? And that's what you got to remember. If you're someone that falls in love really fast, you have to sort of restrain yourself, right? And not get too enthusiastic too soon, like what can happen if you are someone who has, instantly your feelings are engaged when you meet someone that you really, really like, okay? People fall in love at different rates, right? And usually women, especially very feminine women, take a longer time to fall in love. It takes them a while to warm up to you. Okay, and you've got to realize that, right? If you haven't heard from a girl, you've got to wait, right? If you've sent, hey, how are you? And it's been 6 hours and you haven't heard anything, you've got to wait it out. Don't send another, hey, how are you? Don't send any more messages. Wait for her to respond, okay? You have to be patient like that. And when you do hear from her, be happy to hear from her, because she did the thing that you wanted her to do. If she's messaging you, it's a good sign that she's still into you. It's a good sign that she's still interested. So when she does reach out to you, ask her out again. Say, it's great to hear from you. When are you available to hang out? When are you available to go out on another date? It's good to do that, okay? You've got to, positive reinforcement is always, always, always going to trump negative reinforcement, okay? Always. Negative reinforcement, being cold, being mean, is only going to repel them. Being positive is going to attract them, because we all like to be around people that make us feel good, that make us feel positive emotions, okay? And we try to avoid people that make us feel negative and negative emotions. If I sent a message to a friend of mine and they started acting really passive aggressive, that would make me not want to reach out to them again. Whereas if I reached out to a friend and they was really happy to hear from me and they was asking when we can hang out, that would make me feel really good and make me wonder, oh yeah, I'd really love to hang out with them and stuff. That makes me more drawn to them, right? And it's the same for romantic relationships as well. Okay, and romantic connections. They're going to be more inclined to reach out to you if you're always happy to hear from them. Now, if for whatever reason, like I said, you're unhappy with the way that they've behaved and you don't like the fact that they haven't responded for a long time, you haven't liked the fact that they never initiate, then just don't bother with that woman anymore. It's that simple, okay? So playing hard to get, right? Let's talk about that a little bit, because sometimes this goes into it. People think that, oh yeah, if I'm cold to her, or if I ignore her, I'm just playing hard to get. No, you're not playing hard to get. That's just being mean and being an ass, right? What is playing hard to get is you're busy, you're mysterious, and that's how you become mysterious, basically. You're just a busy person. If you've got a full schedule and you're busy and you've got things that you need to do, you've got important projects that you're working on, you're ambitious, you've got things that you want to do with your life, and those are really important to you, and sort of dating is sort of like a secondary thing, you want to see it as like, okay, my life is a cake, right? And dating is kind of like a cherry on top of the cake, right? My life is pretty much all complete, but having a relationship would be a nice addition, right? And that's kind of how you want to see relationships, how you want to see dating. You don't want to see it as your whole life. You want to see it as just a complement to your life, right? So therefore, your whole time should be figured on, working on the cake, basically, trying to make your cake great, right? So that means your career, it means your finances, it means your health and fitness, right? Those got to be more important to you than dating. Okay, and that's how you appear more mysterious, because if your other life goals are more important, then you're busy, you've got things that you're doing, and you take your time to respond to those women that reach out to you, right? You're mysterious like that. You've got other things that you're doing, and your schedule is already quite busy, right? It's already quite full, okay? And that makes you seem high value in their eyes, right? So if you are someone who is scarce, someone who only has a limited amount of time each week to see someone, to go on a date, then that makes you appear more high value, because you've got limited time. You basically, people are fighting for your time if you're always busy on these other different things, okay? And that makes you look more interesting, okay, and more mysterious. That's more of a clear indication on how to play hard to get. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally and you have coaching with me, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com. And if you would like me to discuss something in a future video, then please leave it down in the comments. And I shall talk to you guys again very soon. Goodbye.